I'm going through a drought. You don't even have to do too much. You can tell me your rules just a touch, baby. It is cold and empty. No one's around to judge me. I can see clearly when you're on my
Welcome to an all-new episode of Marvel Cinematic Review. Today we are brought to you by 𝙏𝙃𝙀. As you guys see in the banner below, you can receive your first month free by typing in the promo code GVN. So make sure you guys do that, and we thank you over at 𝙏𝙃𝙀. And a big thank you to 𝙃𝙀. That intro is always a hype builder. I saw some of us dancing. Trevon was throwing up gang signs. It was a hoot. We were loving it. So shout out to 𝙃𝙀.
I didn't realize you could see us when that was
100%.
Oh.
If there's one thing you got to know, Tristan, if I can stalk, I am stalking, okay? So the first thing I was doing to see if anybody was dancing, and you guys were dancing. I loved it. I loved it. Trevon, you have to figure out all that gang stuff.
That intro was really good.
It was great. It was really good. It was really good. But as you guys know, we will be breaking down episode 5 of Ms. Marvel. We are only a week away from the finale. I know a lot of people were confused with this episode. They thought it was maybe The Sopranos with how it ended abruptly. They thought maybe it was like, they were like, wait a minute, hold on. Like, did Disney Plus shut off? Like, what happened? Like, it was a lot of people just like, it was chaos ensuing throughout the multiverse.
That was disrespectful. I just want to let that be known. It was very disrespectful.
It was extremely disrespectful because it was just like, I'm sorry, you thought you set that up properly enough to do that? No. But all right, because I had a few issues with this episode, but I want to wait.
Both.
Oh, Didge, that's why I love you, man.
Yeah, issues?
Yeah, there's a couple.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Is the master
Wait to
of
hear this
issues?
shit.
Is the master of issues talking about issues? What?
This episode was beautiful.
Right here.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. Well, I want to start with the positives so me and Didge can end it off right. So Tristan, I'm going to start with you. What was your thoughts on episode 5?
I like being right about stuff. So remember last week around this time when I told y'all, I said I know exactly what they're about to do. They're going to pull something out of one of the greatest Harry Potter movies, because Prisoner of Azkaban was one of the best ones.
Absolutely.
They're going to do something else. They're going to pull something right out of that film, and I'll be damned if they didn't pull it right out of that film. Now, one thing I will say, I was kind of, I don't want to say disappointed with how it played out, but like, so this is kind of nitpicky. So Kamala creates those things for her grandmother, the younger version of her grandmother, to walk on. Then one breaks and turns into stars. I was like, they didn't have to do all of that. Her grandmother was like 5. She would have looked at those little floating discs and be like, oh, those are stars. Like, it's kind of nitpicky, I know. But I am glad it played out the way I predicted it would. Like, Kamala is the one who led her grandmother back to her father. But overall, I enjoyed this episode. Just to kind of go back to what we said last week about the villains being kind of disappointing, this definitely cemented the fact for me that the villains were disappointing. Like the 𝙃 or the kind of clandestine. Like, what was the point? What was the point if you were going to do what you did to them?
I think they weren't allowed to go back, and that's why they got killed. That's what I think.
You think it was something like they did too much evil while they were on Earth?
I think they were exiled and they couldn't go back, so they got killed. That's what I think.
But what is that weird thing she did to old boy? Because she gave him power. Apparently, you don't need a bangle now.
Suspend a belief. That's what that was. There's a lot of suspend your belief in this episode. I will admit that.
So okay, but I will say I enjoyed this episode. Like I like how and I like the way it was structured. How we really got Aisha and her husband's backstory, and it led us all the way up to the night Kamala goes back in time. And they actually explain why Kamala goes back in time. It was really, I guess, Aisha kind of summoned her. So I like the way it was structured. How we got that backstory and it all kind of connected with the end of the last episode. Like I said, I was kind of disappointed with what happened with the clandestine. I guess the damage control is going to be our real villains, but I do feel like they're setting. What's that guy's name? The guy that was
Kamran.
Is that his, oh yeah, Cameron. I feel like they're setting him up to be. I feel like whatever she did is going to turn him into a villain. So that's my prediction. He's going to end up being a villain.
I just think that she killed his mother, and that's why he's going to be mad. I don't know.
But she didn't.
I know, but she didn't. But I don't mean he's going to believe her.
I see what you're saying. I got you. Yeah, this episode for me is the same way I felt, and I know what Trevon's going to say, but it's the same way I felt in that episode of Falcon versus the Winter Soldier, where right after they beat the U.S. agent, and they kind of just very abruptly went into downtime, and it's like, this is a really weird time to do a training montage, a whole downtime of being with the community. Like, that kind of seems like something beforehand, not now. Like, it just seemed very out of place. Like, maybe if there was another episode or two, it would have structurally made more sense. So for this, you literally watch a bunch of people die, right? These motherfuckers go home and they're just like, do you want to see what I look like when I was younger? Don't nobody want to talk about these dead motherfuckers here in the yard? Like, ain't nobody bothered? It's just, yeah, we're good. All right.
But they've grown up in a world seeing all kind of weird stuff. So maybe that's kind of why Kamala's mom was really like, oh, so you're the light girl, and she just kind of moved on with her life.
That was like, so weird to me.
It was very weird because it was just like, again, downtime for things like this to me are before monumental moments like my enemy just died, right? And then you're just like, all right, shit, fuck it, it's over. Let's go pull a full Star Wars. Let's go hang out with the fucking Ewoks and shit. And it's just like, no, that's not how that should work. It worked for them, right? Because everything was done, right? Now in this story, it just seems out of place, and it seems like maybe this could have waited, right? So to me, that kind of felt out of place. You kind of shoehorning in Kamran at the end felt out of place. And I do have to apologize because I thought he was just a hating ass motherfucker, but he's not. He definitely said, I legit thought your name was
trying to tell you.
But I mean, come on, man. That didn't seem like hate, Didge.
It was too many times. He seemed like he genuinely, and now we obviously know he did.
Right.
So many times he just seemed like he genuinely thought it was Brian.
He only hang out with him one time, so I mean, technically.
But my issue with that was, Trevon, he had only hung out with everybody else whose name he got exactly right. The one kid that might be his obstacle in the race for Kamala's heart, he just happens to get his name wrong. That shit sounded like hate. You know, now, again, I'm man enough to apologize because it wasn't. He said it wasn't. I'll take the man at his word. That shit was hate. All right, Kamran, that shit was hate. But yeah, they didn't set that up properly, and then it was just like obviously damage control, which again, I'm very confused on why they would try to make damage control seem like the villain when in She-Hulk's trailer, damage control is working with She-Hulk, right? So it's like, well, they can't be that bad, right? Like there has to be something deeper to this.
She-Hulk villain, they're gonna just flip
or
everything.
She-Hulk is just like, yeah, I kill people. Fuck it. Hey, don't fuck up. I kill you, right? But yeah, there was just a lot about this. It's rich history. The origins of her grandmother in that whole story, I thought was very beautiful. And then it kind of just when you brought it back into present day, like I also want to know like what were the ramifications of her stabbing the Bengal? Like the Bengal just seemed like it did that shit, came back and was just like, oh. We just needed like 5-10 minutes to recharge. We're good. We fixed ourselves.
And it's not like she needs it, apparently. So,
well, she keeps wearing it. So,
I know.
And in that cruise ship video that got leaked, she's wearing it in that. So I'm like, her toy from Marvel Legends with her finished suit, she's wearing it in that.
It sounds like she's maybe just wearing it because it's family thing. I don't know.
Maybe.
But, yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Honor her family.
I did think the one really cool part of the episode is when Kamala's necklace got messed up, and now we know where she gets the idea of her logo from. I thought that was really awesome. I love that. I teared up a little bit. I always love those little moments where characters either get their names or ideas for a costume. It's like, that's always fucking awesome. And the last thing that really stood out to me is, I told you guys this before, that the directors made it sound like in an interview that she's going through a transformation, like a metamorphosis, really. and where that really kind of stuck with me is when they were touching that entrance and they kind of formed into a rock and then broke down into like bones. Again, it was horrible, but if you did watch Inhumans, that was a metamorphosis that they went through.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yes, I'm sorry. Let's go Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Quake.
Yeah.
With Quake, froze up, it broke. She then had powers, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, shit. Is this a possibility for Kamala going forward, where essentially this bangle and what it does is metaphorically her shell that she's breaking out of to kind of embrace the inner power that she has? So, I mean, there were definitely questions, but I tell you this, I'm starting to feel the same way about episode 6 of Ms. Marvel that I felt about episode 6 of Kenobi. You're going to have to really fucking stick this landing. Really, really, really stick this landing. You didn't end well enough for me to go, all right, well, whatever you do, I can accept it. You definitely ended it to where I'm just like, all right, okay, you're going to have to explain a lot of this shit because it makes no sense to me. But Trevon, I'll pass it over to you. Hopefully that wasn't too much negativity for you. But what were your thoughts?
You're entitled to your wrong opinion. But yeah, so
thank you.
so I really enjoyed this. I liked the relationship that her great grandmother, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great grandmother had.
Yeah.
When she met that man, I was like, oh, it's okay. This is cute. He's cute. Let's do this. So then I was like, oh, of course. I was like, oh yeah, she pregnant already. They already knocking it down. Yep.
Yeah. It happened pretty quick.
I was like, yep. No wait, ain't no time to waste. So I enjoyed that. It was interesting how she was,
Did you say he knocked that down?
Yeah, he did. so he had the bagel. So she had the bagel, right? I mean, look, he knew what he was looking at.
Yo, hold on.
He knew what he was looking at.
We are not just about to go right
past
it. That shit is hilarious.
We all grown.
No.
Exactly.
I'm not saying what you said was wrong. I just definitely thought out of the 4 of us, you would not have been the one to say that.
Use that terminology.
You need to learn a little bit more about me, sir.
I mean, he wasn't wrong.
He
wasn't wrong at all.
He wasn't wrong at all. He was not wrong at all. He was not wrong at all. But go ahead, Trevon. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That just caught me off guard. I'm like,
Trevon said, "You don't know me.
You don't know nothing about me yet."
Wait, what did he say, Tristian? You might see me in the streets, but you don't know me. I feel you.
There it is. There it is.
I got you. I understand.
There it is.
I understand. I got you. But go ahead, Trevon.
It was just she had the bangle and she was like running. I was like, why don't she like? I thought it was interesting that she didn't use it on that guy that was chasing her or whatever. She threw her a knife instead. That was interesting to me. I was like, so it's weird because we don't see from when they got the bangle from the cave or whatever to now. She's hiding, we know, but it still didn't like. Why are you running from them? Why didn't you want to go? I thought y'all were tight. Y'all ready to go back or whatever. Like, why? Of course, now that you have a kid, I get it. Now you're like, okay, now I'm definitely not going with y'all. But before
I have
that,
a reason to stay.
Yeah, you were by yourself. So why leave them if, what was the point? What was your point of staying? If you didn't really have a family yet or anything. But anyway, so that was cool. I just, the story for Kamala to the one to be there to lead her grandmother wasn't like, I was like, okay. She's like, I can't do stars, but I can do circles. I was like, oh, that's cute. And she was doing the circles, then it's turned to stars. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let this go. I'm just gonna let this go. It's fine.
What is this all about?
I was like, is her grandmother controlling the stars?
Yes. It looks like she's manipulating them.
I was like, was she like? Is she turning into something? Like whatever. I don't know. I don't know. And I'm gonna jump forward real quick. Kamran's power looks exactly like hers.
It is.
It was hers, but green.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
That's how it is in the comics, essentially. Well, again, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase myself. In the comics, what his powers is accurate. Her powers are now mirroring what his powers were in the comics, essentially.
Okay.
So again, they're focusing on the hard light, right?
Okay.
And when they did that, it took away from what Kamala's actually supposed to be doing, which is embiggening, right?
Okay.
Naturally embiggening, not utilizing something else to do it. Right. So essentially, this is to a degree what his power is more so like, but they kind of took it to kind of make, like, essentially what they were trying to do is essentially Green Lantern versus Sinestro, right? When he went to the Yellow Lanterns, it was supposed to be the ideology of the same power, just the good of it and the evil of it, right?
Okay, all right. Well, I was like, okay, so it's just like her. It's cool. Okay, whatever. So, I thought it was interesting when she was like, "Well, I can close it." And I was like, "How do you like if your friend couldn't close it? Why can you close?" I was like, "Why can you close it? Like you didn't show any abilities, nor did she." I was like, "Both of y'all dusted up here, but somehow you can send energy to your son." I was like, "Okay." It's so, some of the things were very, like I said, you just like, "All right, fine. I like Kamala, so I'm just gonna let this go." There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that, and I admit I am a little hypocritical when it comes to that. I like her. I like what this show is doing with the family and stuff. So I just kind of just let it go. I just don't dig into it. I do wonder like what is happening in the next episode, because if he doesn't become a villain, I don't know what else is there left, because all the clandestines are either dead or dusted or whatever. They got killed or dusted. So I was like, so either he's gonna have to be evil. Damage control could be coming, but that's like, that's not gonna like excite me. If he's fighting her, cool. But I'm also like, why? So I'm also very curious about his last episode. I don't know what his last episode could do that is gonna make me excited, unless Captain Marvel show up. We're like, "What's up, girl?" That's about it. Like,
I'll say narratively, it seems like what's gonna happen is Kamala's gonna come back, right?
Yeah.
Bruno is gonna be hiding out with Kamran. She's gonna find them. He's gonna go, "Where's my mother?" She's gonna go, "She died," and he's gonna feel as though she might have been responsible for her dying. And then they're going to fight for a little bit. Damage control is going to come. They're going to probably work together to stop damage control. And it looks like damage control might take him, right? Like might arrest him. I kind of feel like if he dies, your whole villain arc was essentially for nothing, right? Because I'm like, you did nothing for me to care about really any of these characters. I really don't care about Kamran. And that's not because he's done a bad job or the writing's done a bad job. It's just your focus has been essentially everything really but Kamran, right? It's been essentially his mother. So I'm like, you haven't really given me enough time with him. So if he dies, I'm definitely going to be sitting there like,
one less man fighting for Kamala's heart. She got 3. I understand. Play.
She do.
But I also think her mom's going to make her outfit. That's what it seems like anyway.
Yeah. Oh, I
take all
felt
the pieces.
100%.
Yeah, so it looks like everything that she's been given, the whatever that vest thing is.
And we now know where the scarf comes from.
Yeah. So that scarf is not as long as it is in this picture, but we're gonna let that go. we're gonna let that ride
adds on to it.
We're gonna let that ride as well.
Yeah.
But
watch, it's gonna be longer in the next episode.
For sure.
Listen, they were like, because it was definitely just a bandana.
It was. Oh wait, when he handed it to her, did we see its full size?
Yeah,
I wasn't really paying attention.
It wasn't that long.
It's literally a regular bandana.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Because I'm like, he might have used the scarf as a bandana, but I wasn't really paying attention when he.
It definitely went as long as that thing behind you.
No, not at all. Not even the one behind you.
No.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. I'll see what else. Where's her dad? I thought about that at one point. I don't know.
He didn't go there.
I know, just his dad just missing,
He at home. He missing. I'm at home. I ain't missing. What the hell?
I was thinking about when I don't see characters for like 2 episodes or whatever. I'm like, what are you?
Right. And then her brother. Speaking of,
when they travel to a different country, that should not be a question of, well, where he at?
Call her dad, like Kamala's missing. Like,
and we know where her brother is. Like using the terminology that Trevon used earlier, we know what he and his wife are doing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's fair.
Probably get pregnant too.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I just really curious what they're gonna do next episode. The rock formation thing was interesting, so I was like, maybe that will happen to her. But they closed it because I was like, what if she got hit with it? Maybe that'll cocoon her. But I don't know. So I'm just curious what happens now.
Yeah.
And the cruise video is like that we've been seeing or whatever is. It's like, are they doing that to just throw us off? Because maybe something will happen to her this episode where she will change to regular like we expect, or is she gonna just be like this?
Well, so Joel was making the point that we don't know if that's canon,
right?
But to me, I kind of feel as though.
But put it out at the same time is very interesting.
It feels they didn't put it out. Remember that was leaked.
Well,
that was
recorded.
100%. You're not wrong there. You're right. But to me, I kind of feel like, why wouldn't it be canon? Like, why would you go out of your way to make this non-canonical?
But they do stuff like that all the time, like, right? Like, there's all kind of, like, when you go to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, they've done some stuff there that isn't canon to, like.
Yeah. Oh, and I can't speak to that.
But I feel like this, they had to spend a little money to get these actors in this room together or whatever. Or I think it looked like they were in a room together at least. I feel
like Marvel's probably smart enough to be like, when they do their contracts, they're like, we need you to appear in any old thing. We're paying, like, here's your price.
They ain't signing that, right?
Exactly.
No, I mean, you're not wrong, Tristan, but that still doesn't really answer the question of why would you make it non-canonical? You know what I'm saying? I get you utilizing it for what you want to utilize it for. That makes all the sense in the world, right? You want to use it as like a tourist attraction. I get that. That's no problem. But if you're telling me it's not canon, it's like, that's really weird. Why? Like,
I feel like,
why wouldn't it be canon?
If it's not canon, like if it is canon or not canon, whatever, maybe we shouldn't have done this till the show's over. You only got 6 episodes. Wait a little bit for you to show this, and then go from there.
Or Trevon, it is very possible this season ends exactly like how we expected, and that Bangled's there. She's still utilizing it to embiggen herself, and it's not just the stretchy arms and body. That's very likely. It is. I've already wrapped my head around it, and to me, I told you I'm fine with it because it leaves the door open for when the Inhumans come, right? But if she embiggens on her own, then that's really weird because I'm like, well, there was no Terrigen Mist. How the fuck did you do any of this?
Oh, also, I did think it was very, like you were saying earlier, Tristan, I think how her great-grandmother was activated the bangle without it being on or even near her, honestly. I was like, so how does she do that? Like, how it's inconsistent, I guess. That's
as most Marvel is. Yeah, you're not
wrong. Inconsistent.
Yeah, Marvel definitely plays a parlor trick on us as fans. They'll go, hey, look here at all this cool shit, and we're like, okay, and they're like, all right, ignore all this shit that makes no sense whatsoever, and we're just like, okay, all right, yeah, okay.
I mean, Cameron doesn't have a bangle either, so I guess
like what's the?
Yes, I don't know.
That was one of the things that I was just like, what's going on here with this?
Well, she transported whatever power
energy from it. Yeah.
We didn't ever really see her do anything.
We never saw her use that power.
Hold on, I'm not trying to make sense of it. I'm just saying the reason he's able to utilize it is because she went into him. Now, if your question then is, well, how the hell was she able to use it? That's a whole nother.
I think it was the energy from the portal. I think because they said that's where the energy comes from that they're using anyway. So I'm assuming she maybe absorbed it and sent it to him some kind of way. I was like, how you do that? I don't know. Your actual genie. You granted it.
This episode definitely was just like next time.
That genies are like Jinn are usually like spiritual beings. So do you think that portal actually just destroyed their physical forms and like now they're these like they're in their dimension, in their home dimension, they aren't.
They don't have an actual physical body.
And like maybe something happens when they cross over. When they cross over to our world.
It depends, Tristan, because again, remember what they're doing right now is not comic accurate. So I don't know how far they're gonna go with this. Will this bleed into another storyline? Like I have no idea. This is all new territory. So I don't know. Like if they continue with the Nord dimension, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? That's a very great question, but because none of this is canonical in the idea of it being connected to something I've seen before, I don't know. They could just create this to be whatever they want it to be. But you are right. I do believe, and I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but in their belief, Jinn does not just mean bad. Jinn has two different meanings.
Yeah, they can be good or bad.
Right, they can be good also. So maybe that was a transition that she had. was that she went from a bad Jinn to a good Jinn, and that's why she sacrificed herself.
Now, do we think
know?
she possessed Cameron or just sent her energy to him?
Possessed, maybe. I don't know.
Like, I was gonna say that lends credence to my idea of maybe they become spiritual beings. Like in their dimension, they are like spirit. They have spirit forms or something.
Yeah, that might make sense. I'm with you guys in it being very confusing and that being frustrating. Like, I don't really know. No ideas. I don't know. So, Didge, walk me through your thoughts on this episode.
This was basically Kenobi episode 4 for me, where it's like this is the first time where I was like, shit, they might not stick this landing. And it's one, like we've all been saying, the villains that went nowhere. Like that was the thing where I'm like, we were already kind of worried last episode, and then it just fizzled out, and it's like, well, what are we here for now?
Yep.
So that was something that was just very disappointing to see. Overall, I did kind of like the episode, like seeing the backstory of her great grandparents, seeing that, having them bring in the actual history of what happened was really interesting to see. It was really a really good homage to real history. Mm-hmm. But the little things are like, I don't understand how he has powers now. Like,
man.
She never showcased that she had any type of powers. So that was a real big, like, okay, this seems like an ass pull. What are we doing? And then just now it seems like episode 6 is just going to be there. Like if it really ended today and this was the finale, it seems like, yeah, it makes sense because it doesn't seem like there's nothing else the story really needs to tell. Right. I get it. Yeah, it had the cliffhanger at the end, but it wouldn't be the first time Marvel has had a huge cliffhanger and left you at that. So
yeah, that we had to wait a year or 2 years
right.
or 3 years to get the finish of. So yeah, you're absolutely right there. Yep.
So it was one of those things where it's like, obviously it could all change next week, but it's one of those things where it's like, are you just giving me a 6th episode because you had to, and your story kind of really ran out of steam in episode 5? But
yeah, I will say this. I kind of would have preferred if 5 and 6 was utilized the same way that Volume 2 of Stranger Things was. So where you just make it an hour and some change, right? Like you just combine it.
Yeah.
Because this was just a very weird way to end it. Like it just felt very disjointed. Like it seemed like it seemed like my Disney Plus stopped. Right?
Yeah.
And then when it got back working, it was on the credits. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got to rewind to see what I missed. You rewind, and you're like, no, that's it.
That was it.
Like, that's it. You should maybe do a better job of what you're doing, because that was not a way to end an episode. Like, that wasn't even like what's going to happen? That was more so like, that's where you could have just ended it where the bot pops up and they're looking at it, right? And it's just like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like, they found them. Damage control found them, right? Like, leave it at that. Now it's like, okay, now how do they escape? But you blew up essentially Bruno's convenience store in his home. And then, like, Kamran, kind of just throws, like, that energy blast out. Like, it just was structured very weird. Very, very, very weird. And again, we've seen this done better in Spider-Man Homecoming, when the guys in the bank let the laser off and it blew up the guys. Yeah, we saw it better there. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tristan.
No, I was going to say, do you think that, I just thought of this randomly, do you think that maybe one way we're supposed to interpret that? Because I guess if the building, like, okay, so the store below them just blew up, I guess that would affect the power in the entire building. So maybe the way we're supposed to interpret that is like the room went black because all the power went out. I don't know. I'm like, maybe just everything went dark.
Storytelling what they wanted.
100%. I think you're giving them too much credit there.
Okay, I like that. Just like that can have made sense.
I think it's something that they can look back and go, yeah,
right. I think they're like, yeah, you are correct.
Yeah, I like what that guy said. Yeah, that's exactly what we did. But
or even them getting knocked out, or maybe Cameron and Bruno got knocked out. Like that's another way we can look at it. Like maybe they got knocked out, or maybe the power went out. Like
I would have liked it if that was clear.
Okay, well,
right?
that's fair.
Like if you saw them hit their heads and it just went black, and that was like them being knocked out, right? It's like, okay, that would have been cool, but this was very disjointed. And again, this was not a horrible episode. This wasn't
Not
even a
at
bad
all.
episode. It just had way more question marks, and not in a good way, right? Like when WandaVision ended, it was just like, well, this episode ends, and I'm just like, huh? Like that. Whenever I do, huh? That's not good. When I do, that means you left me to some shit I gotta try to fill in, right? Like some real geek shit I gotta try to fill in. But this was more so just like your story just didn't make sense. Like none of this made sense. Like Baron Zemo at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, him executing that plan for that truck to blow up. No one ever talks about what if they never made it to that truck? You essentially just blew up some innocent ass cops. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of that is just like if I gotta piece that shit together, that's very frustrating. Don't make me do that. Don't do that. Just tell your story in a proper way to where your story explains it, and then I can just worry about just the geek shit. Just do better. But all right, Trevon, I want to start with you. What is the one thing, and do not say Captain Marvel. What is the one thing you need to see realistically out of episode 6?
Now, why you gotta say realistic? Like Captain Marvel is not a realistic thing.
I'm saying
She
it because
is literal
that
fan girl of her.
You know what I would compare it to? I would compare it to when everyone was assuming we might see Magneto in WandaVision, right? And albeit you could make an argument that could have been, whether it's a fabric of her imagination, whatever the case. That was a logical.
That was not logical. We don't have a Magneto in the MCU right now.
But that's why I'm saying that would have been logical.
But we have a Captain Marvel
introduce her there
in this universe. I'm just saying we have one. It's not it is not far-fetched for her to show up. It's not at all.
No. It's not far-fetched. But I want you to be realistic
Very likely
in the sense of Monica Rambeau showing up would make more sense than Captain Marvel showing up.
Yeah, I don't see that.
That Bangled is Kree technology. Monica's up there with the damn scrolls and shit, probably learning everything about the Kree.
I could have sworn Captain Marvel knows about the Kree as well.
She does, but I'm saying that if Monica's working with Sword, if Monica's working with Sword,
we assume she's galaxies away right now.
No, hear me out. If Monica's working with Sword, and we know that Nick Fury is the head of Sword, that means he's keeping one eye on the galaxy, one eye on Earth. So when he's probably seeing all this weird shit, he's probably just like, hey, go investigate that shit. And he sends his best agent, which now makes sense to be Monica, and she finds out about Miss Marvel, and then that's when they work together, and then Captain Marvel's brought in when her movie comes around. That's all I'm saying. So it's more logical that Monica shows up than Captain Marvel. I'm not saying it's impossible.
Fine.
I just don't want you to judge this episode based off on whether or not she shows up. That's why I said just be realistic. You know, Monica shows up.
I'm gonna be very honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
If Captain Marvel is not seen in this last episode, I will have a problem. Look, at least you see her.
You got the cruise ship.
I need to see her.
No, I'm saying you got the cruise ship where she showed up, flew away right before Miss Marvel could see her. There you go. That's it. That's what you got.
Okay, I don't know. Let's see. A lesser thing that could show up, I guess, could happen. I don't know. Mom has seen it now.
Her friends have seen it now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I really don't know what else I'm like anticipating to happen, except Monica or Captain Marvel showing up. Like, I got
one for you. I got one for you, Trevon, that I think you would really like. And if this is somebody else's, you guys can just elaborate on it more. But I know you'd like to see her fully embiggen, right? Like
that would
fully
be cool.
Launch her big arms. I know you'd like to see
that.
But
what would she need to do that for? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not for camera. No, I'm saying she does it for a specific reason. You know, she needs somebody to fight. But
he's saying what we don't really know what
Cameron is not. He don't deserve that.
He don't deserve fists.
You don't need her to embiggen. He don't need her to be like super giant mode. We don't.
Oh no! Time out. I'm sorry.
When I think of embiggen, I think of that. Okay. When you say embiggen, I know the fist and all that stuff. But when I hear embiggen, I'm thinking Ant-Man
I don't need-
supersized.
I don't need her to
that's what
do
I'm thinking
that.
of.
No, I don't need her to do that till she gets her powers properly. You telling me you want to do fists? I can accept that. Her going large in scale of body? No. Because again, remember, this is a projection. This here
Yeah,
is a
you remember
projection. That's
what
not her actual fist.
And once I saw this energy, hard light or whatever, it made me think of that X-Men anime where that character can project that big thing
Yes.
around them. That's
Yeah.
what it made me think of. That's what Kamala
Yeah.
would do. That's what it
Yeah.
made me think of. That's what I
Or
was like. I
or
hope not,
easily-
but
or easily just connect it to Green Lantern. Essentially, right now she's just Green Lantern. Essentially.
Trayvon, when you talking about her name is Armor, I think.
yeah, something like that.
I've been thinking about
That's
that
what I
the
was
entire time.
yeah, exactly. As soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, I guess her powers are like that. She'll
Yeah.
it big in that way.
But yeah, and Biggin, as far as growing herself in scale, I don't ever want to see that till she gets her powers the right way. But just doing like projecting her arms to be bigger or her legs if need be, I can accept that. But her full body going that massive, no, that should definitely be. Because remember, what was the cool? For me, the cool thing about her going and Biggin is when she's like, I'm so low on energy. Like,
Yeah, in the game when she did that. Oh
yes,
my god.
I love
was
that.
so
I love
crazy.
that. But if you're doing
Yeah.
it with this hard light, it's like that takes away from
It
part of
does.
what I
It
enjoy
does.
of her doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I would kind of say her utilizing and beginning on her arms is what I'm looking forward to.
She already
Tristan.
done that though, so it's like it's not a surprise if she does it again.
Yeah, I think
The
I would
big
like to see it
fist.
more. I think I would like to just see it more. And her just using it more confidently.
Yeah.
Tristan, what's some of the things or the one thing you're looking forward to seeing the most, or you hope to see out of this finale?
For me, it's not even so much the powers. I think like I want to see more of like the grounded family stuff in the sense like I want to see does her mom go back and tell the dad and the brother that Kamala has powers, and if not, I feel like on the one hand, I feel like that's going to be a good storyline going forward. I feel like her and her mom being bonded that way, like them both sharing the secret, but then not like it'll bond them because they share the secret, but also a storyline that I would really love to see is what happens when one parent knows the kid's a superhero and the other one doesn't. Like, what kind of organic family drama is going to come out of that situation? So I hope you got to get a hint of where that goes. I hope to get answers to where, like, what side Cameron's going to land on, as far as is he ultimately going to be good or evil. I feel like we still. So this is just a random thing that popped into my head. We still don't have a, her friend. What's the name of her friend? Nakia. Nakia is still upset with her, so I could even see them. It's a teen show. They could even do something like for the maximum amount of drama. Maybe Cameron and Nakia. I don't know if I want to say team up or just like date or something to hurt Kamala because they're both upset with her. Because I feel like something's going to happen with Nakia to kind of let us know where that one's going. So I could just see like them becoming something because they don't like Kamala. Yeah, I'm really just interested in more of like the family dynamics and stuff like that to see where that goes. I do think that she'll defeat Damage Control and we'll get a hint at a bigger villain. Like I don't think it'll just be Cameron. Even if he is going to be a villain in the next season, I think he'll be one of the villains. So really, I'm just interested in seeing like how they wrap up the family dynamics and the friendships for this season, and also hint at what's coming next.
I better see a fucking scroll. That's all I'm saying. See, you keep telling me Secret Invasion's right around the fucking corner, and I have yet to see a scroll anywhere. You fucked up with Sharon Carter. Don't fuck up with Miss Marvel. Somebody somewhere here better be a scroll.
That was the guy that's running Damage Control. It was him.
I'm hoping so. I am. I'm really hoping so.
I would
really
make sense then
so.
why they're so
better,
like antagonistic.
Or even better, I would like it if he's secretly a Kree operative. I would really love that because then that would make sense as to why he saw the bangle and what it does, and that's what really bothered him. Not because people's lives were put in damage, is because that's technology that no one on Earth is supposed to have, right? But I just want to see scrolls. I just want to see them, right? Because I'm like, if you just put it just all in Secret Invasion, that will not feel organic at all. That'll feel so forced. If you're telling me like, oh yeah, and by the way, this person and that person and that person, all scrolls. Well, I saw this person like 2 years ago. Why the fuck didn't you show me them as a scroll then? That would have had maximum impact. But
What if her
seeing it now
mom?
means nothing.
What if her
Say it
mom
again?
gets replaced by a scroll? That would be interesting.
If her mom is replaced by a scroll,
Like if her mom, if the scroll turns to her mom and then sends her real mom somewhere, and I don't know.
that would be interesting as to why, for sure.
I think
Or the dad is snatched. The dad's a scroll.
or that snatched. Yeah, like so I think
I would definitely
having one of them infiltrate her family, I think that'd be an interesting storyline to explore.
I would definitely need to know why. And if they did do it, it would definitely set up what I can already call, if they do that, I can already tell you what will be the funniest scene in the Marvels is when Miss Marvel comes down here to Earth and blasts her mom or dad in the face, and she goes, "What the?" And she's like, "Oh no, scroll." It's like, "Oh shit, well tell me." Like you just shot my mom in the face. I didn't know. Like,
I want to say this. This is my prediction. I don't think we're gonna. I think they're gonna. I don't think we're gonna even see her family in the movie. And that's actually one of the frustrations I have. I'm like, if the Marvels is coming out like another year from now, then how long are we gonna have to wait for, Miss Marvel season 2? So like, there's gonna be this huge gap where we're like, okay, well, when are they gonna finish wrapping up what they ended season 1 with? But I don't think we're gonna see any of the characters from Miss Marvel. If so, maybe 1 or 2 in the Marvels, but it'll be like, oh, we're sending Kamala off to do whatever's gonna happen in that movie.
No, I think at the most, her mom and dad, at the least, she'll do like a FaceTime call where, her mom and dad are both in the phone and she's trying like, I gotta go, I gotta save the world.
I'm in a sword. I'm at a space station.
Yeah, I could see something like that. Like, oh my God, I'm about to meet Captain Marvel. Like, I could see that. But no way they keep those parents out of it. Those characters are beloved. And
I don't think her dad will know that.
Beloved.
I don't think they'll tell her dad.
I think it's impossible not to. I think the whole premise that she kept trying to tell Kamala was, don't lie to us. There's just no need to lie to us. We didn't raise you that way.
So for dramatic
to come home
irony,
and lie to the dad, that would be really weird.
Yes, dramatic irony.
And the mom will be the liar.
I'm telling you, like
really weird.
That would be a really interesting dynamic to explore. Like one parent knowing, one parent not, and then turns her mom into a hypocrite because now she's lying to her husband and her son.
I don't know. To me, I kind of like the idea of her mom and dad and brother knowing, and it's more so like this really cool shit of my daughter and sister is this fucking superhero.
That was what I had
how
said a
does
couple
life
episodes
look?
That's
ago.
season 3. Let that be season 3.
Nah, I like that now because to me it's the fun of like, and I blame Spider-Man for ruining this. You letting Ned and MJ know as early as you did kind of made it seem to where it's now like, well, now how does Ned and MJ deal with the ramifications of hiding this secret, right? And it was fun to see them maneuver through. Like, I'll never forget in Homecoming where Ned was just like, I'm sorry, Peter. I want to just tell everybody. And he's like, no, please, you can't. And that's just like, I'm sorry. Like I just want to tell so many people. I know Spider-Man. So I'm like, I would like to see what it looks like when her brother and her dad are just like, I want to tell all my friends. Like, I want to tell the block. My daughter's a hero,
I want
right?
to tell the whole mosque.
Yeah, I want to tell everybody.
That's season 3. That's season
But
3.
I am with you on her friend. To where I could see an interesting narrative to where Kamran and Nakia, one's a mental threat, one's a more physical threat. To where Nakia is trying to tell the mosque that Miss Marvel is dangerous for their community because of the danger that it could bring towards the mosque and whatnot. But here's the biggest thing. Here's where it's going to get the most interesting. I have to see how they tie in her name, right? Because in the game, and usually in a lot of the comics, the name is Kamala Khan, not Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel is her superhero name, but you hear people say Kamala Khan way more than you hear people say Miss Marvel. So the question will be, when does she get the name Miss Marvel? I assume in the Marvels. So I'm like, well, when people see her on the news, they're not going to keep calling her Nightlight or Brightlight or whatever the hell. So I'm wondering, does she pull a Tony Stark and go, I'm Kamala Khan, right? Because when Tony Stark revealed he was Iron Man, they still called him Iron Man. That didn't change anything, right? But it was, well, shit, I know that's Tony Stark. So I'm like, does she look to be a pillar of her community by outing herself so that they know that they're being represented by one of their own.
But remember in No Way Home, they were charging his aunt with child endangerment. Remember? So it's like,
oh, for sure,
she's also a child. So she was an adult.
Well,
sure.
Time out. The difference here is Peter in the moment was being investigated for murder.
Right.
So it's like you allowed your child to go up and kill somebody. That's different than allowing your child just to be a hero, right? I don't think Peter's investigated if he's outed, but there wasn't a murder charge attached to it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Damage Control would be as interested as they were. Maybe interested, but not as interested. But to me, I do like the narrative of at least her father, mother, and brother knowing, and obviously Bruno and Nakia. I'm fine with that. I really like the idea of them knowing, so she at least has her support system, right? On both levels. Like, she might feel as though there's some shit she could tell her friends that she can't tell her parents, or vice versa, right? So I do like the idea of that. But Didge, what's some of the things you want to see come out of this finale?
Honestly, I hope there's just some hint to her getting her actual powers in the future. Like, it doesn't have to be like anything crazy, but like if she notices, like, because obviously right now everything's a manifestation, like it's a heart light and everything. But like if she notices something weird's going on with her hand, like as she tries to throw a punch or something, where it's like she kind of like, well, something's weird's going on with this, and obviously as the viewers will know, like, oh, maybe this is a hint towards something in the future. Like, I would like that, just because I really don't know what else is going to happen in this finale. That's sort of the only thing I can really think of.
Yeah, and I mean, look, they gave us an end credit scene for only one episode, so we're due.
And it was the first episode.
Right.
I've been looking every time.
So we're due. I thought they would give us one for this one.
I definitely did.
I thought, like, okay, this will pick up to where maybe they're in Damage Control's facility and they're being interrogated. And you know, they end it with, and I know that it's Kamala Khan, and it's like, oh shit, oh, they know.
Just to give us a hint for the finale.
Right. When it was just nothing, I'm just like, oh, well, that's not how you should do that. Okay. Yeah, no, for me, like I said, I want to see something that has to do with the Marvels, right? And because we don't know what the Marvels is about, this should be where we get our first inclination, right? Where we start to get those breadcrumbs for us deep nerds to start to try to figure out what theories are connected to what based off of what we saw. But for me, you do need to set up some stuff here. You really do. And I think if you miss out on that, I don't know. I really don't know. But all right, before we go, I want us to talk about some few more Marvel things. We didn't talk about it No, I'm sorry. We did the show we did together, Didge, on Sunday is what I'm thinking about. But we talked about Namor, right? Our first looks at Namor. Namora is one of the characters there in that in the list of photos. But who we didn't talk about was Riri. And the fact that Riri has her fucking suit. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, obviously Shuri makes it, or Shuri helps her make it. So, and Didge, I'll start with you. So where my mind is that Shuri helps Riri make this suit, right? And the arc reactor kind of bugs out, right? And in it bugging out, it sends ripples down through the ocean. And it causes some kind of problems down there that forces Submariner, a.k.a. Why did I just forget his name? Namor, thank you. When I said Submariner, my brain was just like, well, that's it. I'm like, no, he has another name. To force Namor to come up and ensue war onto Wakanda. Because I know some of the rumors where Riri has something to do with the war between Atlantis and Wakanda. So I'm like, well, that would make sense. Or maybe Riri does some shit with the arc reactor that sends ripples down and fucks some shit up in Atlantis. How do you think Riri Didge fits into this, and how did you like her design and her logo? She actually had a logo too.
The suit, it looked a little bulky to me, but I think that was just a picture.
Right.
So like I was like, I think this is just the way, because it wasn't like it was like a straight on angle at it, so you can't really tell how sleek it is. And obviously, a lot of the Iron Man suits from just those designs of suits from the front look very bulky.
Right.
So that And then as for how I don't know much about what's going on with like the storyline of Wakanda Forever. Like, I hadn't looked too much into it. I wanted to sort of be surprised, mainly because I was hoping there would have been a surprise T'Challa recasting, but you know, it is what it is. So I'm kind of going into it blind, and I think I'm hoping that it's interesting at least, and I'm sure it will be. But I don't really have any major thoughts on how she sort of is a part of it.
Yeah, and to your point, I think what's very frustrating is watching that trailer of that Viola Davis movie that came out today and hearing John Boyega, and it's just like, he could have done it. He fucking sounds like T'Challa in the trailer.
There's so many people that could have, and it's like there's been so many really interesting fan castings that have been thrown out, and every day I'm just like, but you decided no, we just got to kill the character.
Yeah, I very much. I'm still unsettled by that, Didge.
Yeah,
I don't think there will ever be a moment where that does not rub me the wrong way that you did not just recast. Because I know a lot of people are like, oh, you can't recast because people will be upset. Bitch, I'm upset that you didn't recast. So
I feel like the people who are upset about the no recast are outnumbering the people who are upset about the recast, or if there would have been a recast.
Right. And to me, I'm like, that's again the problem I told you ripples through the geek world is you got people who are fans of actors and people who are fans of characters. People who are fans of actors believe, well, if that actor retires or God forbid dies, the characters, that's it. It's with them. And It's like, what? Why would you? Huh? Like, that makes absolutely no sense. Don't do that. No, let's keep the character of T'Challa going. And again, there's something that feels wrong about Storm about to be introduced in the MCU. We're finally getting Namor, and now there's no T'Challa. Like, come on, that's really disheartening. It really truly is. So here's our look at Riri, aka Ironheart. As you can see, she definitely.
This is the picture I saw.
What picture did you see?
I saw one. It was still black and gray, so that's why I thought it was a very early concept art. This one looks a lot better.
This is one of those ones that was floating around with the other ones of Shuri and head of the
Okoye.
Yes, Okoye. Thank you.
Oh no, this one looks. I take my statement about it looking bulky back, because this one looks a lot better than the one that I had saw. The one I saw, it looked almost like a War Machine armor.
That might have been the Hulk Buster armor. I did just see that too. But this to me she looks like she just took the last design that Stark had and just made it better, right? Because look, the arc reactor's in her hand, right. So that's also very interesting. But Trevon, I'm gonna pass it to you. Like, what are your thoughts on this rumored look or leaked look of Riri?
I mean, I think she looks great. I don't know. I really don't know much about this character, to be honest. So I'm just curious to see how she fits in to this, this storyline and everything. I mean, I like, Iron Man died, so this is a new character, but in the same vein,
right?
And I like that. And I get what you guys are saying about the recasting and stuff like that. I'm kind of in the camp where I'm kind of glad it didn't recast them.
Elaborate though. Why?
I just don't think I would feel good about it. Like, as I'm watching, I'm like, damn, so he dies, so y'all just replacing him. Like, I don't know.
See, that's why I wanted to hear your explanation of it. That's a very horrible way to look at it, because it's not just replacing him, right? Like, it's not in the case of like, okay, you have mom and dad, right? God forbid dad passes away and mom remarries the very next day. That's different, right? That's more so like, well, goddamn, how long has this been in the pipeline, right? Like, if you married that damn quick. But in this instance, it's more so he does not define the character, right? So it's not like, oh, I'm just poo-pooing on his legacy. I'm enhancing the character's legacy that he initiated. But for me to never use the character again, how is that respecting the legacy? Like, no one thought of that for Joker. No one thought of that when Heath Ledger passed. Like, you know what? We're just never going to do Joker again.
Now, did they not do another Joker in that same universe?
They ended the universe, Trevon.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but this is the same MCU.
Yes, but I'm saying this is a very fluid universe. This is a universe we're going to see for the next, 15 to maybe 20 years. So I'm like, you can't be short-sighted in the idea of, somebody passed away in a character, so we're just not going to use the character again. That's fine to say if, a character that's been a character for 10 years, God forbid, passes away, and you say, you know what? We're just not going to use this character anymore going forward. He's had 10 to 15 years doing it. We're just going to leave it alone, right? We're just going to wrap the story up. I keep trying to remind people that we've seen Chadwick Boseman as the Black Panther. Let's see. Civil War, Black Panther, Infinity War, Endgame, 4 times. 2 of them times this motherfucker died. Can I get a full arc? God damn. Like, he died 2 of the times.
Yeah.
And y'all are just like, yeah, we're done with him. Like, what? Like, huh?
It seems like a disservice. Honestly, I think it's a disservice to the legacy that he put to the character.
100%.
Because what he did for the character, T'Challa deserves to be in more movies. And all it is doing is honoring what he did. Yeah. And now you're just saying, well, if it can't be him, that's it. The character meant nothing. It was just him that we liked. And it's like, well, now are you really saying that you like the work that he did in, or you just liked him?
Again, the question becomes character or actor. Because if your loyalty is with the actor, then that's a whole nother conversation to put to the side. My loyalty is with the characters. It's why if I have 90 Batman, I have 90 Batman. My loyalty isn't to one actor.
See, I don't like how you keep trying to compare those. That's not the same as this.
How?
Like,
your loyalty,
these Batman that you have are not in the same universe.
Okay,
every
Trevon,
time they get rebooted.
I just got Ben booted out. Keaton brought in. That's in the same universe. So in your logic, if God forbid Ben transitioned,
and I don't like
if we
Keaton.
said no more
I don't
Batman.
like that Keaton's being brought in. I'll be very consistent with that. I don't like that.
No, that's fine. But I'm saying in your logic, if something happened to Ben, you're saying you would have been fine if we said, you know what, fuck it, no more Batman in this universe.
Until they start a new universe, yes.
But we just got Batman, and you're already trying to ditch him? The man had 3 movies, 4 with Flash, and you're already like, that's it. What?
I would have been fine with Robert Pattinson's Batman. I'm like, okay, that's a new universe.
You just said that's a whole nother universe, Trevon.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. When it's a new universe.
I'm saying in the same universe, we've seen that Batman of the DCEU 4 times.
Okay.
Never in his own movie, and you're already like, you know what? Yeah, fuck it. Let's just move on. Can we get a full arc? Like, that'd be nice.
I mean,
like a beginning, middle, and end.
We got
beginning.
If we got like Earth 838 and we saw a different T'Challa in that, I would have been fine. 616,
you know what? Let me put it in a way you'll appreciate. Let me put it in a way you'll appreciate. Brie Larson fucks up, right? And they say, damn, we can't keep Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. And Feige goes, you know what? We're good. We're just not going to use Captain Marvel anymore. You'd be okay with that?
Actually, yes.
You know good and goddamn well you lying. You know.
I just think it would be weird. It would be weird to replace somebody that we know to be that character.
Numerous times.
Not in MCU, we have not.
Yes.
No.
We did it with Hulk, and then we did it with War Machine.
I do not count that previous Hulk at all.
War
Machine.
A lot of people do not count that previous Hulk.
It's continuity. Tony Stark was in that movie. You can't not count it.
I do not count them as MCU.
So then what about War Machine?
Tony Stark was in that movie.
Like,
I don't count it.
Now you're just creating.
I don't. I never did though. I never had.
Stark was in that movie, and you saw. I don't William remember Hurt. It. You saw William Hurt. You saw Civil War.
I don't.
It's connected, is all I'm saying.
What about Don Cheadle and Terrence Howard?
Yeah, War Machine.
Secondary character, not the main. Sorry.
Wow.
Sorry.
Tristan. Tristan. What were your thoughts on the look of Riri, aka Ironheart?
If they do it, they do it, but I don't agree.
I don't know much about that character, so yeah, I'm kind of indifferent to her until I see the movie and see what she does. I don't like how you keep comparing like recasting Chadwick Boseman to like the Jokers. It's like they can always. I mean, it's not. And I'll say this: I get where you're coming from, and I will say this: I do think eventually they're gonna recast him. I do think that Marvel is trying its best to like honor the impact he had by playing Black Panther, and Black Panther being such a unique movie and kind of the first of its kind as far as like portraying African American superheroes and with having a majority African American cast. I feel like Marvel is really trying to honor that before they're just like, okay, now here's this new guy. But I do think eventually they will recast him. I just think like they're trying to pay their respects to Chadwick Boseman and what a good job he did.
Also, I think they're trying to tiptoe around this too. Because you replaced the black man.
But my issue
is,
somebody's gonna say that.
Somebody will say that.
You're replacing what?
You're replacing the black man.
With another black man.
They will say it.
Somebody will say it. He's not wrong. Somebody will say it.
But it would make no sense. You're replacing it with a whole nother black man.
It would be a black outlet too. They'll say it. I guarantee it.
All I'm saying is the reason why I keep comparing it is, to me, if you did not want to immediately recast T'Challa, once this movie comes out and you give the Black Panther alter to Shuri, I have no interest in you then down the line saying, well, now we want to. No, you should have waited or done it now. Now that you've given the throne to somebody else, no, absolutely not. No, this is not something you just fucking play hot potato with. If it's hers, it's hers. You had your chance to either push this movie far back, right, and take your time, or just recast. Pull the Band-Aid off. Pull it off. Because guess what? We're in a world where Trevon is making excuses for the Don Cheadle, Terrence Howard recasting. He won't.
That didn't bother me. I don't care about that. Like, I was like, okay, whatever.
But that's my point.
But it's not the main character.
It's a reasoning.
It's not Iron Man.
But that's my point. It's a reasoning of what you choose to care about. That's why I keep trying to say it sounds like it's more a loyalty of the actor than it is your true care of the character going forward. It doesn't seem like you have a true care of the character going forward. Like if they say we're just not doing Black Panther, you seem like you'd be like, oh, well, fuck it. To me, I need Black Panther. You got Storm, you got Namor, you got the whole idea of the incursions.
See, I need the Black Panther. I think that's it too. See, I did not know that storyline that you're talking about, the Storm Black Panther thing. I don't know much about that, except for what you said. I don't know that storyline. I get, and that might be why you want it so bad. I don't know anything about that. I know who Storm is. I know who Black Panther is. I don't know much about their story together.
They were married. That's it.
See, I don't
like I want to see
that's
that.
Why that doesn't.
That's a black royal couple in the MCU. I wanted to see that be highlighted. I wanted to see that be something that is important.
Yeah, that would have been great to see.
I mean, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I also want to see T'Challa versus Namor. That would have been also very interesting to see. I also would have liked to have seen if the Illuminati's created, T'Challa be a part of it, and then say, fuck y'all. I'm only concerned with Wakanda. I want to see all that drama with that character. So all I'm saying is what you guys are saying is there is no disservice. Now, if you're talking about what fans' reactions will be, fans' reactions will always be wild and ludicrous, right? You can feel how you feel. That's not what I'm arguing.
Different though.
But that's wild and ludicrous. It's not different. It's not. Okay. Because he helped establish this character in mainstream. So you essentially going, all right, well, shit, fuck it. We're just never going to touch it again. Well, then what impact does he truly have? The impact is for it to keep going, right? When Dr. King and Malcolm X died, people didn't go, well, fuck it. We're not fighting for rights anymore. No, you got to keep it going. So to me, it's like you don't just stop. That's not how a legacy works. You got to keep that shit living.
There's some false equivalencies being
that was a wild equivalency. I couldn't.
All I'm saying is
that one was wild.
I'm just saying a legacy is something that you keep growing. You keep going with.
The message is there. He's not wrong. The messaging is there, but the equivalency that I had to take my nod back on that one. When it got to Dr. King,
I'm just saying. You're supposed to keep it going. If you end it, then what was the whole purpose of that shit? You fought.
No, you're not wrong.
To do what? You fought hard to do what? So they introduced that character, right? He put it on a trajectory of a tenfold going forward. So to just stop it is like, well,
Why?
What is
It's
the
just-
lasting impact here?
It'll feel so wrong to me though to see somebody else up there. That's just how I feel.
You know what feels even
it'll
wronger?
suck.
You know what feels even wronger? All those little black boys that had Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther to look up to, you're now just giving the throne to somebody else. So now what? 15, 20 years down the road, that was it. They just had him for 4 movies, and then you were just like,
Now they
no
got
more.
Cap.
Right. No more. Now it's just I gotta transition to a whole nother character. No, to me, no,
And I
there's
do
no
get
need
it.
to do that.
It is gonna suck. Like you said, I do. Like Tristan said, I do think eventually one day they'll probably recast them, and it's gonna suck because you're gonna get the storylines that you wish that Chadwick would have been able to do. You're gonna get those moments that you're like, damn, he would have killed these moments.
Mhm.
But it's the impact now that there's storylines that now we're not even gonna see T'Challa as a character be able to go through because they're gonna already have been done, and it's gonna feel even weirder, especially for comic book fans who have read those, to be like, it's the Shuri Black Panther that's doing this, and it's like I'm sure it'll look cool, but it's just not gonna hit as hard as to see the T'Challa Black Panther do those moments.
But that's also the biggest frustrating part is because they can both be Black Panther. Right?
Also true.
Right? Shuri could have been the one that came over to help the Avengers, and T'Challa stayed in Wakanda. Right?
Also true.
So I'm like, you could have still had her be Black Panther if that's still what you wanted to do. There are just better ways to utilize it. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe it's a fake out and they'll recast, and they just don't want to tell anybody until they see the movie. How about
I
that?
fucking hope so.
That would
fucking
be
hope so.
That'll
be a fake out. That would be. I'll be pissed, but it'll be fine.
Pissed? Why
I'll
would you
go
be
with it.
pissed?
I'll just rock with it because I just don't.
I don't know. To me, those are one of the things I'm just like, there's just no way you just stop a legacy. You got to keep that legacy going.
Yeah, if the movie gets trashed because of it, then what? And then we definitely don't get no more movies from him.
Trevon, there's a really good chance that people are gonna shit on this movie with no T'Challa at all.
Yeah, there's
Sure.
especially with everything that went with Letitia Wright over the pandemic.
Yeah, so I'm like, what are we talking? Again, you as a company, you can never dictate business based off of how a few negative people will react. You can never do that. Yes, you can never do that. Because if you do that, shit, we just said Warner Brothers is in the position they're in because they solely dictated business based off of negative publicity. And now you fucked yourself royally. You just can't do that. If you believe what you're doing is right, you just do it. Those people just have to get over it. Just do. We heard nothing. We heard a whole bunch of negativity with Black Panther. Oh, there's no other races you could have put in this movie. It's just all black. And we thought that shit was ludicrous. Right?
Well,
like,
you
what?
know that was coming.
So you know that that's coming. You just got to say, fuck it. I don't care. Moving on, right? I'm going to do it anyway. But all right. I'm very excited to see what they do with Black Panther. You got to drop a trailer at some point. And that's what I'm waiting for, is how you're selling this movie. Because if any of the rumors are true and numerous people are wearing this Black Panther suit, I am already not a fan. Already not. I don't even need to know the context. I don't even know the context.
You know what, Juwaan?
See?
Oh well.
Yeah, fuck it. Fuck it.
Yeah, you can say that. Again, you can say that, but my issue is there shouldn't be numerous people as a Black Panther. Just pick one. Pick one.
What if there is multiple people? You'll just deal with it.
Oh, I'll have to for sure. Doesn't mean I have to like it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying with y'all. Y'all don't have to like it, but you will fucking accept it if they recast. That's all I'm saying. And I'm saying the same.
And
if
you
there's
accept
multiple
if they
people, if there's Trevon, I'm living in it. What do you mean accept it? I'm living in it. They said that they're not going to. I'm currently right now living in it. This isn't a maybe. I'm living in it. But I'm just excited to see when they release that trailer and how they market this movie, because that's going to be something that's very eye-opening to see how they market it. Because we thought The Flash was going to have a tough time marketing. You got to market this Black Panther movie. You really do. And to know that it's supposed to leak out into Wakanda series for Disney Plus. Okay. All right. God bless y'all. But all right, I can.
That's true. Yeah, good luck.
Good luck to
Yeah.
you. Good luck to you over there, Feige. But luckily he has Nathan. That's the producer of all these movies that likes to handle shit like this. So, okay. All right. He better be really good at handling that shit. But all right, guys. I want to thank Tristan, Trevon, Didge, you guys watching. I want to thank Jayla for setting everything up. We will see you guys next week. Not only for the Miss Marvel finale breakdown, we will be having 2 shows next week on Wednesday because we will also be breaking down Thor, Love, and Thunder.
Oh, okay.
All right. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. That one might be a pretty big panel. There's already a bunch of people like, when are we going to talk it? I'm like, I haven't seen the shit yet. Relax. Like, god damn. Like, I haven't even seen it yet. And they're like, well, when are we going to talk about it? When I can see it. Like, then I can set it up. But let me see it first. But I cannot wait for that. We have a whole bunch of really cool stuff coming you guys' way. I will be getting a chance to check out Prey next week, so I can't wait for that.
Okay.
I hope that shit's good, man. I really do. Predator deserves better.
It needs one.
It just needs it. It's one of those people that you look at and you're like, you deserve a win.
Right. you need to get back in. You need to get back in the saddle.
You need to get back in here. Yeah, you deserve a win. We'll talk. We'll talk. You deserve it. But yeah, so I definitely can't wait for that. So yeah, please stay tuned, and we will be breaking down the finale of The Boys. I will be getting with Tristan to break down Umbrella Academy. Trust me, guys, I have not forgotten. It's just so much content at once, so I'm trying to space it all out. All right, but thank you guys for tuning in, and until next time.